6 p.m. Okay, I want to welcome everyone to the July meeting of the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees. I had to remember where I am. We have a quorum. Our secretary, Ellie, sent out the minutes. Hopefully everyone's has had time to review them. I'll hear a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Second. Do we have a second to accept the minutes?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Questions, corrections? Hearing none?
Oh, well, wait a minute. These are the June minutes. We didn't really have any minutes for, I think it's the June, what was it, Justin, June 1st? The June 1st minutes?
Give me
No.
just a minute.
Wait a minute. Because June 28th, I messed up on that one, so we weren't official.
It was a fake
Oh,
meeting.
oh, that's right. That's right. So, okay.
So
We're actually going back to
June 1st.
June 1st minutes. Okay. You know, as I was saying that, like kind of just blathering that, I was thinking, I don't remember getting minutes.
Right, because I didn't have to write any because we weren't officially.
Yeah, okay. All right.
June 1st. The meeting
All
is
right.
called to order at 5:07 p.m.
Okay. All right. I will now entertain a motion to accept the minutes from June 1st.
So moved.
A second? Do we have a second to approve the minutes from June 1st?
Second.
Thank you. Again, hearing any discussion, questions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from June 1st, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. It has passed unanimously. Moving on to the financial report.
All right. So just to sort of sum up FY22, we ended up turning back $152.90 from our operational budget and $4,080.85 from our personnel budget. We underspent on personnel this past year because one of our library assistants was out on maternity leave. She's not benefited because she's not full-time. So we hired a replacement temporary, but that didn't cover 100% of her hours. So we ended up turning back a lot of money from personnel, which will become free cash for FY23. And the ending balances from our accounts are here, highlighted at the moment. They're all looking pretty good. The ones that are starred, I don't have the interest reconciled with Jean yet. Jean just sent out the revenue reports for the last fiscal year up through June 30th, 2022 today. So I'm hoping that next week I'll be able to sit down with her, reconcile the accounts, get our final ending balances, which will be our opening balances for FY23. And starting in FY23, we won't be reporting the building donations, the interest-bearing building donations, or the trust funds, because those are going to be invested in the R.S. Douglas, or invested with Bartholomew in the same way that R.S. Douglas is invested right now. So those are all going to be combined into one. As for this fiscal year, there's really no surprises. We're still early, just a month in. We've paid our CWMRS membership, which is our biggest bill of the year, and everything else is just kind of ticking along on track. And I did go ahead and put in opening balances for the accounts, even though they're not reconciled with Gene. So, you know, next month, whenever you see this again, these opening balance numbers will be slightly higher once the once the interest is factored in.
When does the interest get paid?
It's always, as far as I know, getting paid and earned. It's just a matter of how often the treasurer and the town accountant like divvy out that interest to the individual sub accounts. Because like the where is it? So like the RS Douglas that's invested with Bartholomew is invested with a whole lot of other accounts too. They all earn interest collectively, and then that interest is proportionally applied to the individual, you know, sort of sub accounts which make it up. In the same way with the trust fund, which has been invested with the MMDT, you know, like the town doesn't have, you know, 30 different accounts. They have one big one. And then the math is sort of done manually to see, you know, what belongs where. So they,
Okay,
I think,
but at some point, I mean, what I'll want is the exact amount that we had as of July 1st in our accounts, in our funny ones, our money making ones.
yeah, and that will be there next month in these opening balances.
So these are not the opening balances.
These are not the opening balances. These are the opening balances without interest calculated yet, because I won't be able to put that in until next week.
Okay, can you send me a copy of that next week when you get that done so I can?
As soon as we're reconciled with Gene, I'll send an email out.
Okay, thank you.
So they'll be bigger.
Yeah. Good thing.
And that's it for my finance report, unless there's questions.
Are we good? All right, we're moving right along here to the director's report.
Circulation for June and July was pretty good. The digital loans bumped up, especially in June and July, because I had money to spend in June before the end of the fiscal year to spend down our operations account, so we weren't turning back a lot of money. 1,232 isn't a record for digital loans, because we hit our record like at the height of the pandemic when everyone was, you know, using ebooks instead of, you know, coming to the library since we were closed. But if it hadn't have been for that, it would be a record month. But total usage, you know, I'd want to see these numbers, you know, these 3,000 numbers starts to bump up to 4,000 numbers, because the total usage was, you know, getting into the 4,000s in 2018 and 2019, and then the pandemic kind of, you know, sent everybody for a loop. But I think we're bouncing back pretty well, and you know, I was happy with June and July's circ numbers.
Do you think they were higher because of the summer reading programs?
Yeah, that's a big factor too, because there's lots of kids coming in, lots of families checking out lots of things.
Right, and then when a parent comes in with the child, the parent's likely to take something out too while they're there, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, June, we've had a busy summer reading program. We haven't had a lot of signups for reading tracking, but reading tracking is kind of going out of style, and it's, you know, being hailed is not really a bad thing. I mean, the AELA, the MBLC, the MLS, the New England Library Association is all kind of sort of coming out against these, you know, summer reading programs where we make children, you know, track the amount they've read
Right.
over the summer, because it's kind of, it's a pain in the butt. And B, it, like it doesn't do a whole lot to incentivize it. It's kind of a false incentivization. So what they're doing, what they're encouraging instead is just sort of letting, kids read organically how much they want to and when they want to, without the pressure on the kid and the parent to keep track of every,
Right.
minute increment they read, or, keep a list of all the books they read. Because I mean, like, I know, with my kids as a parent, like I wouldn't be able to keep up. I just couldn't do that. But the programs have been super well attended. We had, and I know that this was way beyond our capacity limit, for animal adventure. We had over 70 people in attendance. And I think today for the puppet show, we had, in the 60s. Our Wednesday morning events this summer have been, I mean, we've been packed.
That's great.
I think I agree. I think that is great. And I think some of the programs are sort of new this year, which I'm glad that you're switching it up, or that Deb's switching it up a bit, that of instead of having the same performers year after year after year.
The interesting thing, Ellie, and I was going to comment that these are two, Pumpernickel Puppets is a performer,
Yes.
Animal Adventures is its own thing. They've been around forever.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, I mean, I've been retired for 10 years, and they were around 30 years.
Oh my God,
ago.
I was a preschool director
Yeah.
35 years ago,
Yeah.
and I used to have them come in. So.
Yeah. No, but it's that the community is eating that type of programming.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
You know
we
what? It's
should-
a whole new generation.
Yeah. I was happy to see, I had read somewhere about the magician guy from Sutton. I thought, whoa, why can't Douglas get him? And you had him this year, but I didn't realize that, when I read the article, it was, I don't know where it was, but that was really nice. Kids love magicians, so.
Yeah. Absolutely. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's see. In other news, I've compiled the statistics for Eris for last fiscal year. I'm not ready to have you sign anything yet, Danielle, because they're urging us to wait. There's problems with the system, and they want to get everything ironed out before we actually submit it. But all the data has been inputted. So some highlights: we've got 3,235 registered patrons. 889 of those are from our municipality, which means, a good number are not from our municipality. And that's one thing we noticed in our non-resident circulation offset is, we actually, circulated quite a bit to patrons from other municipalities, but at our physical spot. So patrons from other towns are coming here. And I don't know if we just kind of grabbed them by opening up so much sooner than the other libraries in the wake of the pandemic, and then they just stuck around. Or just doing something better, but we are kind of poaching some patrons from other places instead of the other way around.
I think both my kids have this house is my address, but the one that lives in Colorado uses you an awful lot. and you're not, I mean, Colorado isn't coming forth as a, an out-of-town resident, but anyway, she does use
even factor in, because this is just among other libraries in CWMARS. There's lots of other CWMARS patrons coming here.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's good.
And that's okay. No, I'm not even gonna go there. Never mind. Forget what I was going to say.
We offered 151 live programs with a total attendance of 933. Our estimated door count was 20,412, and our total circulation count was 37,070. The year before, it was 37,106. So we went down a wee tad, but I would chalk that up to variance, just, regular year-to-year variance rather than anything we did drastically wrong. And if you want to see a breakdown of the format and age range, here's a chart here, you know, which kind of shows that our circulation, it shows the prime drivers of circulation. You know, like the thing that we circulated the most of by far was children's books.
Oh, so this isn't how many you own, this is how many you
This is
circulate.
how many we searched.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And this is, you know, what we searched over our circulation desk, not what we searched out in the system. This is what searched in Douglas,
Mhm.
no matter where it came from.
From your desk.
Yep.
Okay.
But not
Except in the case
necessarily
of
from your library.
ebooks, because those, you know, they know, and you don't have to come to the library to get those.
Right.
And it's not a surprise that adults drive ebook circulation rather than kids.
Mm-hmm.
The teens, they're just not. I mean, it's kind of a category that gets not, you know, the numbers look pathetic whenever you think, you know, like, look at how many things we're circulating. You know, 23,000 adult books and, you know, 11,000 children's books and only 1,782 young adults. But you have to keep in mind that the young adult category only really captures about 4 years, whereas, you know, children, you know, encapsulates like 16 years of life, and then adulthood encapsulates all the rest of it. So I don't think our young adult stats are bad. They just don't compare because it's not a very big category. It doesn't encompass a lot of
But another point is, if you compare the young adults with the children, it's not hugely different. 9,000, so that would be at 100. That would be 1,000. You know, 10,078. So it's not, as far as books go, it's not too far below the children.
Oh, that's 978, not 9,078.
Oh, God, hello. All right, I need to take my Prevagen.
Put on your glasses, you know.
I thought it looked good.
Mhm. It looks okay. I mean, it could be better, but it's okay.
Yeah, and young adults don't take out, you know, a big pile of 20 books at a time like children do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would go a lot cheaper.
Right.
You know, with Katie Malo in charge of the high school library, they've got good staff there, and you know, she's working really hard over there to make the library better and more attractive and well stocked. So, I mean, probably a lot of them are using that instead of us, because young adults don't have time to come to the library. They're busy with all of the extracurricular. Well, that's later in the agenda. We don't have
I know. You're trying.
summer reading is chugging along. We already talked about that. Next week will be the last week. Deb is looking forward to, you know, 1 o'clock next Wednesday when she can finally kick her feet up a little bit and then start preparing for fall.
I'm looking for a Thursday morning story time for 4-year-olds.
If like we're having one this coming Thursday morning, tomorrow, reading to Izzy.
I'm going to be taking care of my grandson on Thursdays. So I just thought, hey, if there's a story time, that'll take up some of my time.
There's one tomorrow at 11 a.m.
And I'm not going to see him tomorrow. It won't be till everybody goes back to school.
Ah, yeah. Well, the person who's doing that story time is a student, so she'll be back in school too. But maybe you can talk Deb into it.
Oh no, I would never put pressure on her.
All right. But yeah, that's it for the director's report.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin. Any questions? Are we good? All right, let's chug right along to old business. Treasurer's responsibilities, which we had a discussion last month, and yeah. Not sure where we're at with that.
It's really kind of up to the board here, how y'all want to approach the whole, you know, bylaw situation with the with the role of the treasurer and all that as it's outlined.
Well, I wrote
ahead.
you all my thoughts, and I hope you got them a while ago. But
Hmm.
so I wanted to hear what Barbara had to say on the topic.
Well, the options that were presented were either to amend the bylaws or to make a policy decision, right? Those are the two options.
Right, right. I believe so.
Or the two proposals, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's correct. Yes, two proposals. And they, at this point, they do the same thing. Either way, it defines the situation as it is right now. And I don't know, like, I understand we may not want to amend the bylaws long-term and make a policy decision instead, but I don't know what the ramifications are really long-term. So my opinion is that I would be okay either way, either with the amendment or with the policy change. It's the policy decision. But it has to be one or the other. And I'm willing to go along with what the majority or legal opinion or, practicalities.
Other thoughts, input?
Well, I'd move that we do the policy route. Have that here.
Well,
Yeah, I agree. I don't like making a big amendment. It's not that the town took that out of our hands. Our treasurer is no longer able to do the checking account and sign bills and spend money because the town took that over. So either Jean or their treasurer has to do it all. So I think we just need a policy note saying our treasurer will sign the vouchers or whatever, but not going to spend money. Kind of like the policy that Ellie wrote.
But yeah, what she wrote, I think it covers it.
yeah, I think so. I agree.
Well, what about the other two things? The policy was to, I'll just read what I had written. To make a motion to adopt the policy to elect a slate of officers for the library trustees at its first meeting after the town elections, and to set the responsibilities for the trustees treasurer, as well as a substitute name as at the same reorganization, to serve as a signatory for directives to expend municipal monies voted by the town at town meetings. So you got to also, I mean, so
Yeah,
that's
backup signature is important. Yeah.
And I'm not sure, is the word substitute right? Is there a way to make it be two people? That
Well,
one or the other, doesn't have to be both,
Or
but
an
one or the
alternate.
other.
Or alternate.
yeah, that's a better.
Yeah, I think so. Substitute is kind of like, well, we can't find anybody, so we'll go out on the street and get somebody to sign the warrant.
Yeah, I forget how the Mass General Law states it, but it's something like primary, secondary, or, primary and alternate. It's something like that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so as well as an alternate,
yes,
Yes.
but not alternate name, just alternate
yes.
at same reorganization. But then, as I was thinking about this is the signatures that we just talked about there are for the municipal monies voted by the town at town meeting. That's the municipal budget that the town is giving us.
Right,
We also have our own money.
Yes.
And so that's where down below I have two bullets that we could add. The trustees treasurer shall sign warrants voted at a trustees meeting that spend funds from accounts controlled solely by the trustees. And that's so that there's two different types of funds here. There's municipal funds and there's our trustee funds. So, and then the second bullet was library funds controlled solely by the trustees will be kept under the custodianship of the town of Douglas treasurer, who is bonded to perform such duties. So we're just assigning her or that person, that position to act as the custodian of them. But they're not making any decisions of how to spend them. We are making those decisions.
We do it as trustees.
Right.
And I think together those cover everything, but it covers payroll. So the things, what we agreed to spend in our meetings. Justin, you're the best.
I mean, I
think it covers all the things that, pardon?
So I just want you to be happy, Barbara.
Well, I want to make sure that all the things I do sign and look at, that they're all covered here, and either specifically or generally. That's why I said, like, payroll is a big one, of course, always, and that's a town account, right?
Yes.
And but then when we have special projects, that would be us,
Right. It would be approving funding from the Friends. There's times when we vote on that.
No.
No, you don't approve any funds from the Friends. I'm the treasurer of the Friends.
Yeah, but
and
I mean,
the Friends do that. I mean, you go to the Friends meetings, Danielle, so you know, and you are a friend. And so that's understandable, but it's not the trustees that control the Friends money. It's the Friends that do it. They have their own 501c3 designation and legal stuff. And
all right, so we've never actually voted. The Board of Trustees has not voted to approve some type of spending for the Friends. The
Right.
Friends have offered, I know there's been reports where the Friends offer to pay something and it comes up at the meeting,
yeah,
but we don't actually vote on that, right?
Right.
I think almost every item that's at issue here is one that Justin prepares for signature. So that's why I'm saying, Justin, do you think that between these two categories, all those items are covered?
I do.
Okay.
It makes sense to me.
I mean, everything has to go through the warrants. So, I mean,
Right.
like that in and of itself encompasses everything.
Right.
Unless it's, Friends of the Library money that they just, they take care of it themselves. If the Friends wants to
Okay.
pay for our website, they just, pay it with a credit card and it never has to go through the warrant process. And it's like a gift to the library.
Okay.
But I mean, everything else, municipal, operational, personnel, and the special accounts are all go through the warrant process.
Right.
but we control the personal accounts. They still go through the warrant process because we have as custodial the town treasurer of those accounts.
Right.
We still have to vote on that being spent. The town does not control them. All they control is the municipal accounts. We control the other accounts, the funny accounts.
Yeah, and that's what it was coming from.
I don't know if we should be calling them the funny accounts.
Well, I don't know. They're not trust accounts because that gets us into trouble, or special accounts.
It makes me think that somebody's going to be knocking on my door with
I want something funny.
with a vendetta. Just kidding.
So
I think, if Justin feels that this covers everything, and I feel good about it, Barbara seems to be okay with it.
Yeah, if approving this as a policy and putting it in the policy manual will smooth things over, then I'm happy with that.
And we think that then that means the treasurer position would not have to be bonded, right?
Right.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
But are we just saying so, or do we need someone else to concur?
No, I don't think you can get any money no matter what you sign. If Cheryl or Jean don't sign the money, I don't think you're going to get it. So I don't think you should be bonded.
Good point. You know, to be honest, I had never heard of that. I've been the treasurer, like I said, I was the treasurer for the Cultural Council for 6 years. I was. Never heard of it. But
well, it just protects the funds. And that's why it's nice to have Cheryl be as treasurer and bonded, that if she decides to run away with the money, it's protected. It's ensured that she'll get thrown in jail. So,
yeah,
but you know, she won't, but I mean, because she's an honest person, but that's what you're protecting yourself against, that that none of us are running off with the money. We're just identifying the bonded person and that they are the custodian of the funds, so that Cheryl is, as treasurer, is that custodian. So we should include that in our policy there.
yes,
So
that would add clarification.
I'll read it through again, just to include all of these three
We're
things.
gonna
So
just say,
a motion
I
to
second that.
adopt the policy. I
Okay,
know, but I got to read it out,
yeah,
because
yes,
when I go back to try to
I
write
know,
up the minutes, it just doesn't work.
Okay.
Motion to adopt the policy to elect a slate of officers for the library trustees at its first meeting after the town elections, and to set the responsibilities for the trustees treasurer, as well as an alternative or alternate
alternate,
at the same reorganization, to serve as a signatory for directives to expend municipal monies voted by the town at town meetings, and that the trustees treasurer shall sign warrants voted at a trustees meeting that spend funds from accounts controlled solely by the trustees, and the library funds controlled solely by the trustees will be kept under the custodianship of the town of Douglas treasurer. The town of Douglas treasurer, you got to identify these two treasurers,
right,
who is bonded to perform such duties.
good. I would just make that a separate sentence instead of making it all one sentence. So when you get to the end of what the library, the trustees treasurer does, at the end you say the town of Douglas treasurer, or something there about her being, the person being bonded. I would just make that a separate sentence.
It's a motion. You have to sort of
Oh, okay,
string
right,
it all together.
all right. I'm sorry, I'm
You
out of
can put
out
it
of
in
order.
your policy book any way you want. This is just the motion.
All right,
to
okay,
get
I'll
this done.
entertain a motion for what Ellie just said.
Ellie, that was the same as what you had written down before, right?
Yes.
And that was, you had two items.
Yes,
Those were both, you read them together. Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
I made the motion.
Right, okay, a second.
So moved.
So, all right,
Oh, yeah.
let's open it up to
Second.
discussion. Sorry, I'm so confused now. All right, I think we had discussion, but
Yeah, I just want to just ask again, is there any do we need to get concurrence from anybody in the town who said this is a good policy?
No, it's a
Not
policy. It's not an
No,
amendment
they
to
may-
our bylaws.
Okay, all right.
What were you going to say, Betty?
Nothing.
Crickets.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion. And all those in favor of the motion that's on the floor, signal by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did someone just make a cricket sound?
Yeah, there was one on there. It must be Kate. She's outside.
Oh, yes, there are crickets
I
everywhere.
thought someone
Oh,
was
wait a
doing a
minute.
cricket sound like they didn't, they were sleeping and they didn't. All right. So,
Well, you know what? There might be in my flowers or something like that.
the motion is carried unanimously. We're done with that.
Include the crickets agree as well.
Oh, that's a nice cricket. Moving on. Building projects, main floor ceilings.
They're
Justin
done.
says take it off the agenda. Handicap access. Gary
But wait a
Moyer's-
minute, on that, so you've gotten everything paid, and what was the final payment for it?
Everything is paid and see, oh no, I don't have it in this. Hold on. It's on my other computer. Finance, FY22, FY22, ledgers. Library ceiling repairs. So the town originally voted $75,000 to fix our ceilings. We spent $70 advertising the project whenever we were putting it out to bid. The project itself costed $37,950, and we paid $750 for deep cleaning when it was done. So we'll be turning back to the town $36,410.
So what happens now? Do you say that again? How much was you're turning back?
36,410.
Okay. And that, so you'll be asked by Jean, or are you going to say to Jean, we're done?
Yeah, it's already been said because it's one of those end of the year fiscal things because it has to be carried forward into the next fiscal
Right.
year because the money exists and it doesn't just go away. And then the account will end up probably closed out at fall town meeting and go back into the capital pot, however that works.
Okay, but you're satisfied you don't have to use any of the 36,410 bucks.
Nope, we are all done. Everything pertaining to the scope of that project as it was voted at town meeting is finished. So I can't use it for anything else.
Right. Cannot be reused. I mean, used for.
Okay, good.
Oh, there's my kitty. He never ever comes out. He just walked across.
He heard those crickets.
Maybe. Oh, he's a character. But anyhow, can we move on to handicap access? And Justin feels it's safe to take this off the agenda.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking to Gary Moyer anymore. He,
Yeah.
you know, his assertion was that we're not going to get any cheaper than, you know, the original Van Hoorhus design, because by the time you look at the, you know, the structural changes you have to make for clearances and wheelchair access between thresholds and, you know, rearranging shelves and putting in the restrooms and whatnot, he said there's no way to make this, you know, anything less than, you know, a multi-million-dollar project.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
that's sort of discouraging.
it is. There was a lot of time on everybody's part put into this.
Hmm.
But whatever. Okay.
But
You know,
I would hate to take handicap access off the, is it just Gary Moyer's?
No, we're just
proposal?
taking off Gary Moyer.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the
And
whole,
this
like,
is kind of the next bullet in other, but I think right now we're doing the best we can do by fundraising.
exactly, I was just gonna say that.
Getting ready. And like I know, I don't know when it will be, but eventually there will be another MBLC project planning grant round. And the more money we have before then, like we can enter that pot again and have the state pay for a professional to design a library to modern standards, and then then we'll have the kinds of plans that the BFCC wants us to have. I just really don't think there's much we can do right now except hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I think so. I
don't
think
see a
showing,
realistic path to getting this building renovated the way it needs to be renovated without the MBLC, because it's just going to take money, and they are the dispensers of the money.
Yeah, but then that brings it back up to a multi-million dollar project, which I thought we were trying to avoid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't.
That we were only going to get the bathroom and some sort of access with an elevator or a ramp on the back of the building.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what their requirements are going to be when that time comes, because I know
I'm wondering, Justin, I'm wondering if they're gonna change the scope of their funding, because it's prohibitive to communities like Douglas.
They already have. Like, I know the grant round that this board went through the last time that y'all were trying to get the building renovated, that was not the most recent one. It was the second to most recent one.
Right.
The last one, they did approve smaller libraries and smaller projects, and they're working on making it less stringent. And one of the things they did this past year was they did a pilot program for funding teeny tiny libraries in towns that didn't have any. So they're going in that direction. So I'm optimistic that by the time another project planning grant round comes along, the requirements will be a lot more palatable to a community of our size and with our means.
Right.
Who's,
And I think it's, go ahead.
I was just going to ask who's the person at the MBLC that is the building coordinator?
I can tell you. Programs and support, construction.
And can they become your best friend?
Lauren Stera and Andrea Bono Bunker.
I've never heard of either of them, so that's
Lauren Stera has been around. I think Andrea is fairly new. But the moment there are murmurings of a new project planning grant coming around, then I'll definitely be all over it, because
That would be great.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be too awful long, because I know they're coming up at the end of the wait list of libraries that were approved for funding in the last round, because that's why there's not a schedule, because they do
Right.
a project planning grant round where they design a whole bunch of libraries, but they don't have the money to pay for them. So they those libraries all go on a wait list, and then as the money becomes available every year in the state budget and goes to the MBLC construction program, they'll fund those projects one at a time. And then once they funded all of those programs, or at least given the communities the opportunities to fund them and see if they pass or not, then they'll do another planning round.
But I just would hate to be forced into, just since I've been retired, the way libraries have changed with all these ebooks and e-audio stuff, the size of the library doesn't have to be 4 times the size that it had been planned.
Yeah, it can't be. They've got to have some new ideas on that.
Because a lot of people are just moving differently.
Exactly. Right.
And I think your ebook stuff and the audios are just perfect.
Yep.
You know, right now.
Villas probably is like occupancy limits, because they're probably going to say they want an occupancy limit on the building, which is much higher than we have right now.
That's an
And
idea.
you have to ask
There's no way to tell what their
why.
requirements are going to be until we get there,
Right.
Yeah.
because they will revise them
Okay.
up until the very end.
But I want to just say, maybe to maybe segue into the next thing, is that I think as long as we're showing that we are actively pursuing funding through the things that, especially the Friends, like the auction coming up and all these other things that are going on where we're actively raising money towards our goal, I think that will help us in the long run as far as being credible in any grant applications.
And also from the town's point of view too.
Exactly, absolutely.
We're
The
making
less
that
we
effort.
have, the less
Yep.
we have to ask for. Or
So
the
I would
more
say
we-
let's just keep doing what we're doing. Hopefully the Board of Trustees will be actively involved in the upcoming auction. It's kind of exciting. Got some good things coming up.
Now, the other thing is the handicapped accessibility grant people, whatever that one is. And we, I think I mentioned this before, the town finally accepted that they needed a handicapped accessibility committee. And I know Shirley Mazinski was pushing for this pretty hard. And I think that's good that we do have one now, but we don't have anybody on it. And so I was one of the people I was talking to at the last book sale. She was new to the town, and she wanted to know about, well, why is this library not accessible for handicapped? And I said, well, we're working on it, blah, 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 blah. And I said, now, if you'd like to serve on a committee, now, and this is anybody should go out searching for people that, and I'm actually one of those handicapped people that could qualify, but I'm into too many things to and other people have to take it up because I'm a type 1 diabetic. But you know, so there are, if you can find people that are handicapped, then, or they have a condition that makes them handicapped, then, you know, that's one of the preferences of people to serve on this committee. But it's, you know, Justin, anybody you see that looks like a idiot like me, then just ask them if they'd be willing to, and get the forms, or find out from Lisa, you know, how one gets it. But that would help, I think, if the town, if we actually had an active handicapped accessibility committee in place. And we don't.
Okay.
That's all. I'm sorry. I'll zip my mouth. I should be writing anyway.
All right, so going down to grants, capital campaign.
So what's the percentage, Justin? Are we over 30?
I don't know. And
31%?
Here, do we want to just sort of like quietly stop talking about the $400,000 goal and just make it an undefined goal, or do we want to keep, you know, cognizant of that number?
I think people need to know what they're working towards.
So are you doing the math now,
It's not
Justin?
like we'll stop if we hit $400,000.
Well, no, that's a good point.
Right.
Maybe okay, get into this dual thermometer thing, well, triple, where we're at now, what will $400,000 get us? And what is our total goal for handicap accessibility? Kind of a three-step thing.
Yeah, well, it's that number 3 that we don't know about.
Yeah, we
We all have to come to agreement on. And
But I can understand Justin's point, but you know what? I would worry about that when we get there.
what, to 400,000 or?
Yeah. Changing the goal, or say, okay, that got us a ramp.
Yeah, and actually, within, except we're sort of low on the totem pole because we're not considered essential like the police and the fire department are, which I'm not knocking them because I understand that, and that's where big money is spent on.
Right, but we don't have to belittle the point with that. Okay, so I just say
We don't have to be what?
belittle the point. We know that. We know we're behind all of those. We're like. So
I know. So those things
highway,
come in
police,
to priority first.
And fire.
Yeah.
So.
And highway trucks and stuff like that. So those are all the big ticket items and roads, paving roads. I'm thinking from sitting on the Capitol Committee, what we talk about all the time, and that I keep on saying, well, don't forget the library. And
Yeah.
They put on the dark glasses and don't look at me anymore.
Okay. I think we talked about the disabilities annual grant is about to begin. Oh, that's a different one.
Oh, here you go. Okay, I haven't even read this yet. So
yeah, they sent out an email notice today that the grant round was going to be opening up, but they also said don't bother even applying unless you have already gone through the RFP process and are ready to break ground on something. They just don't fund things this big, and they want you to be basically ready to pull the trigger as soon as you get the money. These became really competitive really quick.
Yeah, but this is the department that requires you to have this committee in town. That's why we need that committee in town. I don't think it's active right now. You could ask Matt how the disabilities committee is coming along, or Lisa, one or the other.
Yeah, we're not going to get anywhere, I think, with these. I mean, we could, do something that was not related to the building renovation maybe and apply for money that way. Not this year if they're expecting you to already have an RFP ready or done. But the library renovations just beyond the scope of what they do.
Okay, ready to move on to LRP updates.
Our long range plan kind of boils down to, renovate the building, better programming, and improve content delivery. And content delivery is awesome right now. Our holds queues are down. People aren't waiting as long for stuff on, physical or ebooks. So there's no complaints there. But programming is kind of stagnating. Numbers are steady across most of our programming, but they're not growing. The exception has been this children's summer reading program has been awesome. But I mean, these are things we're paying $350 a pop for, or, the cultural council is on Wednesday mornings. So, I mean, that's not our regularly scheduled things. These are big things. Outsourced events that, aren't feasible to do throughout the year. But as far as our book clubs and our story times and everything, it's getting hard because we're getting out competed on a lot of levels. The schools are investing more in their extracurriculars, their sports, their, optional clubs, their Lego robotics teams, their, like it. Anytime I talk to a teen and ask them what they would be willing to do at the library or what they want to do at the library, they say nothing because they don't have time. Their schedules are already full, and nothing we're going to be able to do to squeeze in there. The homeschoolers tend to prefer to do things outdoors rather than inside. And the grown-ups are moving to doing their book clubs at home where they can drink wine. Something about the culture right now, if you're putting on an adult program or an adult event, if you want people to come, you've got to have booze. It's kind of like the equivalent of offering free pizza at, college things. Whenever I was in college, it was, if you did not have pizza, no one was going to come. If you did have pizza, you were going to get attended. And that seems to be alcohol now. We do have book clubs happening in town, and I know because I see the holds queues, and whenever I see, 10 people wanting the same ebook at a time, I'm like, okay, there's one. And, I've asked these people, it's like, are you interested in doing your book club through the library? And they say no, because they do it with their friends in a group at home. And so, we're still filling that need through content delivery, but I think trying to bring it here is going to be a waste of effort. So I don't know what the answer is. Our door count's not down. It's just people are coming to the library and leaving, and they're not wanting to stay for very long. And we're not going to be able to compete with the schools in terms of facilities. And we're not going to be able to compete with anyone who can offer, beer and hors d'oeuvres, because we can't do that. So that's part of our long range plan that I keep coming back to and thinking I'm just putting my head up against a wall here and should probably focus on something else.
Well, one thing is you could have the library, except I don't like to spend money on booze at a restaurant, but you could go to the one of the restaurants in town that serve alcohol and have
I
a
thought
book
about
club
that.
there.
Some libraries are starting, like the new trend, what was it a while back? It was like adult coloring clubs was a big thing that fizzled out. And right now it's books and brews, like organizing book clubs at pubs or trivia nights at pubs instead of at the library.
But that would be, what's the restaurant next to you, next to the library? Not the pizza joint, the one in the next one over.
Grill on Main.
Yes.
Yeah. What's it called?
The Grill on Main.
Yeah. So if, you could have something in there where you could, that there is a certified kitchen to have the food, or, the friends might be able to fund something like this. So, bring an author in that would be not at the library, but at there, so you're using the facilities in town, helping out, and people, if they want a glass of wine, then they can buy it themselves or something, or, because I don't think the friends would want to pay for booze, but
You don't want to pay an open tab for a library event?
right, exactly. You could, as long as it is only 15 minutes, Justin. That would be fine. So I don't know, but there are other options around that you could.
It's an interesting idea, because maybe if you had a fairly early on a weekday, like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then so that wouldn't really be impacting the tables at Grill on Main.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if they have a function room or not, or like a.
No, they don't. So it would just be the dining room, but it's fairly. They might be willing to rope off a few tables at one end if it's early before the regular the regular diners come, you know, like it's like on a Monday or a Tuesday, and I don't know.
What about the so-called hall? Do they have a big?
Yeah, they have an auction. I mean, they have a bar there. They serve alcohol, so
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
yeah,
That would be better than, and just say, what's your slowest night?
yeah,
You know,
right.
do you want some big happy readers to come in,
Yeah,
stir up the joint? But that's
yeah. I think that may be better in just in terms of the facility.
Yeah, because they can do the food there too.
Yeah.
You could have
some kind of.
kielbasa something or other.
Kielbasa and galumpkies.
Yeah.
Mm,
But anyway, that's other ideas. I had been getting tired of doing all the stuff that for the intrepid readers, which is usually just me, Betty, and sometimes Gail Swenson comes right now. Those are the three of us. And so Betty, for some reason, didn't come last month. Last month. And so it was only Gail. Gail was afraid that I'd be all by myself. So she came. But it's weird. It's usually just two of us that show up. But we had up to 10 or 12 people before the pandemic happened. And so I had asked, and then I was getting sick of doing all this stuff because I would forget to do it, or I'd wait too many days and then it wouldn't get in the paper. And so I turned everything over to Justin and Gail Bowen. And so but then they changed, did they change something with, I'm going to send out something tonight just from me, but where I didn't like sending stuff out from me, from Ellie. I wanted it to come from the Simon Fairfield Public Library, and Justin has an ability to use that, but then they just dropped it. So it wasn't, I mean, I finally found the notice for this month's book, but it was not automatically put to all the people on Dynamic Douglas or Discussing Douglas or whatever sites that we use. And so what did you find out about that, Justin? Did anything?
Well, I shared it to both of the groups, and I don't know if it just got buried immediately by other posts or not.
Yeah, I saw it on Dynamic Douglas.
What? Which? Where? How? Was it to everybody, or was it as an event happening at the library? Because I didn't see it on Dynamic Douglas until I saw it as an event. I found it last night finally, but
I don't know.
yeah. But that I'll see what happens when I put it through to, after this meeting, I'll put something through.
What's the book?
It's Hummingbirds, something or other, but it's by this person named Cy Montgomery, and she's a naturalist, and it's about two orphaned hummingbirds that were orphaned when they were teeny tiny babies, and she found this woman or befriended a woman that took care of hummingbirds. And I know there's a lot of people in this community that love hummingbirds, and if they knew about it, then they might be looking at it. Now, another book that she wrote, Cy Montgomery wrote, which I didn't know I had read, but I read it again and realized I had read it. And it's called The Good, Good Pig. And it's about this Cy and her husband who raise a pig who is the run of the litter and everything like that. And they keep it for 14 years. And I didn't realize all these things happen to the poor pig, where they grow the horns on their face, and their hooves are weird, and I don't know, there are a lot of different things. And it got to be 700 pounds. Can you imagine that, Kate?
They get
For
pretty
14
big, yep.
Yeah. And that they had everybody in the community, it was in Hancock, New Hampshire, or something like that, bringing goodies to the pig, and feeding them, and kids got into it. And it was, and there was actually the person that was my children's librarian at the time in Sturbridge, her sister lived in Hancock, New Hampshire, and she was a state legislator, and they mentioned her, that Eleanor came by, and so it was, I just love the whole thing. And then you cry the last, I don't know, half hour of the book and stuff like that. It's very sad, but
I
Well,
don't want to read that at all.
okay, in the interest of time,
okay, I'm sorry.
maybe we could move on to
Okay.
the Friends auction.
Okay. Apparently it's going fine. But anybody that wants to donate that hasn't, we'd love more donations coming in. So Danielle's husband made beautiful Adirondack chairs, that made out of real wood, not pressed powder or whatever that stuff is.
High grade pine,
Yeah.
handcrafted.
Yeah, beautiful. There are. So
We just email you, Ellie? Are you
well,
doing
you
it, or,
can you can email me and I'll forward it to Justin and we'll forward it to Donna Metz, who
Okay.
Or if you go to mysfpl.org/friends, you
Yeah.
can email the Friends of the Library directly, and then it'll go right where it
Yeah,
needs.
that would be even
All right.
easier.
yeah.
Take Justin out of the mix.
It's on the Friends page of the website.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
it's going well. Paul Peterson's been really good about contacting the local businesses downtown, and I'm sort of concentrating on town, the fire department, which they said yes right away, but also I want a highway department and water and sewer. I wanted water sewer to give a tour of the sewage treatment plant, because I remember when my kids were in elementary school, they went to a different school, not Douglas, but they toured the Grafton sewage treatment plant. I was one of the parent chaperones, and that was fun. It was really fun. And then they did artwork of the sewage treatment plant, and my daughters I have hanging in our hall. It's so there. So, and then I thought kids like big trucks too. So that maybe the highway could figure out something with big trucks, how to work with those. So, but any business, or if I sent Keith Menard a note I do every year asking if Foxy Travel would like to donate a trip or something, but he doesn't respond. So we'll see. But the more stuff we have, the better. And probably in Justin's office, he could probably show you a picture of what he's got so far.
Right. Yep, we're working on that. I encourage all of the trustees to participate in some way. I think it's a fun thing. Going to have a party on October 23rd at 2 p.m. at the library. Justin said there's no problem with you sent an email afterwards, Justin, about
I sent an email because my first, I kind of directed, the Friends to invite all of the donors and all of the bidders. But whenever I sent the email out inviting the Board of Selectmen and Matt, Matt's immediate response back to me was, "What is the building's occupancy limit?" And I have to confess, I don't know. So now that is going to be, the building commissioner is going to look through their archives, because I know that it was determined one past.
Nothing is easy.
The previous director did not deem it important to record that information anywhere or pass it along.
Well, because no one,
So now we're going to
I'm
have
not going to go on record to
and
say
find
that
out
no
how
one
many
ever went to the library then, but
we can have,
because that's not true.
because we may not be able to have as many people in here as I wanted to.
There was a number for
like-
the downstairs children's group. There was a occupancy permit for that room.
Yes. Yes, I know there was, and I forget. It's posted, isn't it posted? You should have that posted, Justin. That should be posted in the building.
Yeah, that would be great.
Occupancy, you, on your building inspection, you have a building inspection certificate, right?
Nope.
You don't?
Nope.
Are you kidding me? Okay.
Yeah, look,
Any public building is supposed to have a building certificate, building inspection certificate, and it lists the occupancy of each room.
Yeah, well, we're going to get that sorted out now. And I
Yeah,
hope
that's crazy. What the
gonna
heck?
be asking for trouble.
Well, don't invite the building inspector. Don't invite Matt.
Oh, come on, Ellie, stop it. Ellie just, she wants to have it say it happens and have no one show up and say, oh, well, we tried. I'm just kidding you, Ellie. I know.
No, that's
Ellie-
true.
Ellie
And then when we talked about it at the last meeting, Justin said, yeah, Ellie wants it from 2 to
It's
2:15,
2:15.
which is true.
See, that's all. That's okay. All right.
And if it goes till 4, that's great. I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong sometimes.
All right, so I'm sure there'll be a lot more information about that coming as we
unfortunately, yes.
closer to the date. All right, so any other old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business, we have looking at a book donation bin.
I gave them the go ahead. They haven't delivered it yet. I don't know exactly what the time frame is going to be on that, but they gave me the final dimensions of what they were going to give us, and it's going to be a lot smaller than I thought. It's not going to be a big, huge thing. It's going to be a more reasonably sized thing that I think we can fit.
And is it something with a slot that only will fit a book into it?
It is something that the public won't even have access to. It is a locked bin that the friends can put books in.
Oh, you put your scanned books in
send
there?
along to, something that's kind of like Better World Books, instead of having to put them.
Exactly. No, I understand. Okay. All right.
To the school.
All right. Perfect. All right. Other new business. Hearing none. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 23rd. I just want to let everyone know that I will be on vacation then. So I am going to turn the reins over to my illustrious vice chair, Kate, for that meeting. Okay?
I might be on vacation that week. So then what happens?
Are you going to Truro?
Not that week, but
Oh, because I'm going to be in Truro.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I probably will be in Truro in September at some point.
It's
Oh,
my
I might
wedding
be there too.
anniversary that day, but I'll be here.
We'll
We never
figure
do
it out.
anything.
Someone will figure it out.
I'll probably be around.
All right, not to worry. I will accept a motion to adjourn. All I can see is Kate right now. I don't see what's the agenda, but I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So I can see you guys.
So moved.
All
Second.
right, all right. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. All right, standing vote.